Last time out for the Honda British Talent Cup, we were at Snetterton in Norfolk, and on the Saturday, Johnny Garnes, number 57, had claimed, unsurprisingly, according to his form so far this year, the 2022 title. But chaos on the opening lap here of race 2. That was Carter Brown, Harrison Desoy and Sullivan Mounsey all down in one fell swoop on the opening lap at the Justin Wilson hairpin. And then look at this, Reece Stevenson, Rocket Reece, number 23 on the Rocket Racing machine, all identical Hondas of course, Moto3 bikes here in the Talent Cup, was fighting with Johnny Garnes until it all went wrong at the very same corner in the closing stages. He'll be looking to bounce back at the last round this weekend. So the fight for second was then between Harrison Crosby, number 15 on the Yellow Banks Racing bike, and Evan Belford there, number 52 on the red machine. Up front it was Johnny Garnes winning for the 12th time from 16 races, just Belford ahead of the Yellow Banks Racing machine for second place. Garnes though totally dominant. Here we go then, it's the first racing of the weekend here at the Bennett's British Superbike Championship. It's Donington Park, it's round 2 for the showdown ahead of Brands Hatch in 2 weeks' time. But for the Honda British Talent Cup, it's their final 2 races of 2022. They didn't go to the last BSB meeting last weekend at Oulton Park, so Snetterton was their last racing, with Johnny Garnes winning the title 3 weeks ago. So you've seen the first 2 rows of the grid here, with Sullivan Mounsey 6th, Lucas Brown 5th, Carter Brown here in 4th position. And on the front row of the grid, it's happy National Lincolnshire Day for number 23 here. It's Rocket Reece, he's aiming for his first victory of the season. Is Reece Stevenson, the rider who really came good at the Silverstone Grand Prix support meeting earlier this season. Across to his left here, number 79, it's Harley McCabe on the MLab Vision Track Academy bike. Feeling a lot more comfortable now. They've changed a few things inside the garage there for the rider from Halifax, the 14-year-old. However, they couldn't get near Evan Belford. Pole position on a 1:45.3, as you can see for yourself. The 15-year-old from Grendon in Warwickshire will start from pole position. Belford further back in the standings in 10th place, but is one of 5 winners this season. Further back in the standings, as he was injured earlier this season and missed a few races. Annabelle Matthews there on the right-hand side, who will be leaving the BSB paddock at the end of the season, operating the starting lights and the checkered flag. And I'll definitely miss Annabelle, always a very smiley face to have around the paddock. Nice to see that there's a big turnout of fans here. Quite windy though, but at least we don't have the terrible weather conditions we had here on Friday. Neil McKenzie and Greg Haynes with you as we get ready, Neil, for the warm-up lap. 30-second board goes up. The big news though, Johnny Garnes, high-sided in qualifying earlier on, managed to get back out to qualify second, but then went for a check-up at the medical centre. Wasn't looking at all well, and they've actually declared him unfit with concussion. So poor old Johnny Garnes, the champion, who was running number 1 this weekend, is out of action at Donington. And here he is in qualifying. You can see he's holding his chin, and he did cut his chin there with the strap from the bottom of the helmet. But what a shame, Neil, not just missing the last 2 races of the season here, but missing the European Talent Cup at Aragon next weekend as well.
Yeah, tough end to the season for the little guy there. You can see that bike is on wet tyres there. Conditions were in between, yes, it's very difficult for all the riders out there, but if you're going to have an off and miss one, then why not do it after you've been a runaway victor in this year's Honda British Talent Cup. So yeah, he'll be back, he'll be fine, but what an opportunity for all these other guys to have a good race at the front and maybe grab a victory in the final 2 races of the season.
So Johnny Garnes, as you can see highlighted in blue, he is the champion and he will be given the trophy at the end of the weekend. The Dave Simmons Trophy will be presented by Robin Appleyard. It all means, of course, now it opens things up behind. Carter Brown is pretty comfortable for second, 31 points ahead of Reece Stevenson. But as you can see, Stevenson and Crosby absolutely level pegging. There's only 5 points as well, covering 5th, 6th and 7th places. 18 points between 8th place rider Ryan Hitchcock down to Harrison McCabe. So there's a lot to play for. Here's the group. We've seen the top 2 rows already. Belford, McCabe, Stevenson then across the front row. Of course, Garnes would have been second, but not starting. Carter Brown is on row 2 with Lucas Brown. Namesake there, but no relation. Then it's Mounsey. James Cook returned last time out at Snetterton and going really well, as is Dan Goodman. Clayton Edmonds completing row 3. And there the rest of them. It's a big grid down to Ted Wilkinson in 32nd place. It's going to be interesting though, Neil. We've got people like Ollie Walker, who crashed at Coppice in qualifying. Keanu Vaya crashed at Coppice in qualifying, hit a wet patch. Ronnie Harris was going quite well at hit trouble at the S's. So quite a few quick riders we think will come through.
That's right. And you mentioned the wind there. It's got quite windy this afternoon. Track temperature is good. Track condition is good, but it is windy. And these guys are some of the smallest riders in the paddock and also on the smallest, lightest bike, so it can have more of an effect on them. So they have to be careful of that and just judge it, and they'll get a feel on the sighting lap and the warm-up lap just exactly where that wind is gusting, but they have to be careful. But that will certainly go all out the window once the lights go out and the visors are down and they're in full race mode. But this is going to be fascinating for, as you said, 2nd to 6th in the championship, all to play for.
What's going on here? A bit of trouble for somebody there, just being straightened up on the grid, but I think we'll get a start. The red flag up at the front, of course they'll wait for the green flag at the back, then the red flag's removed from the front, then the lights go on. Minimum 2 seconds, maximum 5. There goes the red flag. We've had the green already. Another problem.
He stalled his bike, I would imagine, and he doesn't want anyone to put the lights out. He's maybe just stalled, and that is highly dangerous. So
Clayton Edmonds, by the looks of it, there, 9th place, number 64, would have been on the right-hand side of the grid if you're on the grid. Left-hand side as we look, into row 3. Oh, what a shame for Clayton Edmonds. Are they even going to be able to get this bike started at all to come from a pit lane start? Ah, what frustration. Lights on though, we will get a start, and we have got a start for the penultimate race of the season here for the Talent Cup. It's race 17 of 18 in 2022. Great start then for Evan Belford. The 71 shooting down the outside. He's Dan Goodman. As I say, they've made a few changes in that team this weekend, and he's going well, but it's not going well further back. 2 of them down at Redgate Corner already as the rest of the field streams down through Hollywood and the Craner Curbs on the opening lap. Look at this, Stevenson's in there now and is ahead of Evan Belford. Great start for Stevenson.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, Evan Belford just been for a tryout at the Red Bull Rookies Cup selection, so he had great experience there. Evan Belford, number 52, a winner earlier in the season at Knockhill, so back to 3rd position, but certainly a good start for him.
One of the fallers, we think, over at Redgate Corner is Ryan Hitchcock, as they come up through McLean's for the first time and then up to Coppice. Nobody jumped the start, which is good news after all the chaos there on the grid. Look at the chatter for Harry McKay into Coppice Corner.
That's right, up the inside there, a little bit ripply as they turn in there on the front end. Always, yeah, you can get some chatter issues there on a nice sweeping line. There's not the number 15 is fairing a little bit loose there. Harrison Crosby looked like his fairing was sticking out on the left hand side of his bike. Might just have been my eyesight, but Harrison Crosby, another contender, another front runner for most of this season.
And the other Harrison, McKay, was the other faller at Redgate Corner. So McKay out of the race, Hitchcock out of the race. Lucas Brown's made an excellent start as well there, going as high as he's gone all season. Number 29 on the second of the black machines is up into 3rd place. So Stevenson is aiming for his first win, and very well deserved it would be. There goes Carter Brown, who was out of the race by this time on the Saturday at Snetterton. He, Desoy and Mounsley were all down at the Wilson hairpin on the opening lap. But look at that, great first lap then for Rhys Stevenson. Yeah,
and Rhys has been, Johnny Garnes has been the runaway winner, deservedly so, but Rhys Stevenson has pushed him all the way on a number of occasions this year, so very much a guy with the same pace, the same talent, the same ability as Johnny Garnes, so yeah, been threatened for a win. Good old Johnny as well, he wanted to set an unprecedented 10 wins in a season, or 10 wins in a row, so that's not going to happen today, but Rhys Stevenson is grabbing that opportunity with both hands for a victory today.
Yeah, what a shame for Garnes, who had a crash at Redgate Corner. If he's just joining us in qualifying earlier today and was declared concussed. Now look for the contact here between Hitchcock and McKay. McKay coming across through the pack there, and there's the touch. There's the touch.
I've got to say, Harrison McKay, number 61, he was a bit steady in there. The guys were kind of moving around him, whether he was in the wrong gear or just got a little bit unsighted, but he's a bit steady in there and just caught out some of the other riders around him.
No action taken. Great stuff already from race control. They've looked at that, they've got various different angles, and they've declared that no action was taken.
He wasn't doing anything wrong, just a bit steady in the bunch.
Yeah, it's a typical Redgate, I suppose, on the first there. A bit of a concertina effect. There's Harley McKay coming through. Harley, of course, was right up there in qualifying second on the front row of the grid. An aircraft there in the background just coming to touchdown at East Midlands Airport, just on the other side of the circuit perimeter fencing. Out of the Melbourne Loop then. We're on the full Grand Prix circuit this weekend here at Donington. They did race on the national track back in the middle of May, but look how they're closing in now. This is great stuff. The top 5, a real concertina effect going on here. Not for Lucas Brown though, who runs wide at Goddard's and drops into the clutches of Harley McCabe. Then it's Crosby. We'll keep an eye on that fairing, as you said, Neil, just in case there is some sort of issue with the fairing on the yellow bike. And Belford then is in front, maybe not for long. Yes, he is. Belford then, start of the third of 15 laps, is leading here at Donington.
Yeah, Harley McCabe, the number 79. He is a rider that he I'd never even ridden a Motor 3 bike this time last year at Knockhill, made his debut there, and he had a crash and he didn't race in one of the races, but he's come on so much, stepped up to the mark this year. Had a bit of an up and down season, as is normal with any young rider, but doing a great job there. Another of the MLab Vision Track Academy riders.
And Crosby, incidentally, down in that 6th place, could do with some extra points because he's tied at the moment, as we saw on the standings. There he is, the bright yellow Banks racing machine here, number 15. He's tied at the moment for 3rd in the championship with Rhys Stevenson, who's up in 3rd place and fighting for the lead. So this is not an ideal situation here for the 16-year-old from Ashford in Kent, who's a member, by the way, of Danny Buchan's Pro 83 Rider Academy, which was set up earlier this season. I think you're right, the bottom of the fairing seems to be flapping, doesn't it?
Yeah, maybe just a little crack, a little fraction, not dangerous at all. Yeah, the Banks racing machine, always immaculately prepared, the number 15 there. Just the back part of the frame. I mean, it does have quite a lot of flex anyway. I don't think there's too much of a problem there.
So it won't be his left foot catching it or anything like that, you don't think?
No, it's beyond the foot peg, beyond his foot. Yeah, camera zooming in there nicely, but I can't see the problem. Maybe just high speed will start to flap around. It seems to be hanging down, or there's a little bit of flex going on there.
Oh, McCabe has a look as we come down into Goddard. Certainly know the MLab Vision Track Academy squad, and not just the MLab team, but many teams in the paddock, just trying to streamline how many people are involved in the garages. And I know it's always a bit of a touchy subject, isn't it, there, with family members sometimes involved, and they try and keep parents at arm's length, I suppose you know as well.
Yeah, the MLab Vision Track lot doing a great job with the youngsters, but there's tons of other teams out there, 32 riders on the grid, and Vision Track are a small part of this race series. We've got RS Racing guys, John Cresswell's been here forever looking after young riders, pushing them through. Casey O'Gorman was his man last year and went on to win that championship, and has now gone on to great things in Red Bull Rookies Cup and hopefully Junior World Championships. So there's family members, there's guys doing it out of their garages and the sheds, and it's a great championship and very much part of the road to MotoGP. Dorna, the MotoGP organisers, take a close eye on this championship. That's why there's a round at British Grand Prix at Silverstone. So this is very much the future of young Brits going all the way to MotoGP.
Yeah, and Rhys Stevenson here, number 23, was an absolute star of that round at Silverstone with 2 second places when he fought with Garnes all through the weekend. I noticed Carter Brown was right out onto the green paint coming out of McLean's earlier in the lap, so they'll be keeping an eye on that up in race control, Stuart Higgs and the team, to make sure there's no further discretions. If there are, there'll be long lap penalties, and this is the long lap lane at the bottom of your screen. Look at Stevenson though, and they're not letting Belford get away, are they?
No, not at all. These guys got everything to play for. The guy that has to manage things is Carter Brown. He's second in the championship. He has a 31-point lead, so unless he chucks it up the road, it should be fairly safe to bring that home in second place this season. But the other guy is Rhys Stevenson. He's on 161. He is the guy immediately behind him in the championship, so he definitely would like to consolidate his 3rd place. But if something went wrong with Carter Brown, then there's no reason why he can't finish second.
Incidentally, Belford will be racing in Aragon next weekend. Johnny Garnes unfortunately won't be able to make it because of the concussion rules, but he is okay, by the way. He's here in the paddock, Johnny Garnes, but having been officially declared to have suffered concussion earlier on briefly, he'll not be allowed to race next weekend. Belford certainly will be, and that's the European Talent Cup next weekend. But let's see now what Stevenson can do about Carter Brown. Absolutely together. That was a brilliant move, and he's given him the infamous hand signal. Follow me. Let's try and catch Belford together.
That hand signal always works. You tap your seat and the guy behind you will stay behind you and follow you. Absolutely never worked in this racing so far, but worth the try. But yeah, Rhys Stevenson, he knows he's got the pace. He believes he's got the pace. Carter Brown, a little bit bigger, a little bit heavier, not lacking in talent compared to any other riders in this championship. But yeah, he could maybe use that slipstream. We know he's strong in the brakes, and maybe just get onto the back of Evan Belford and sort it out in the last few laps. That's the rain flag, basically. The spots of rain following at the final sector. That's the last sector to head through the Vogesses down to Melbourne hairpin, so these guys have to be careful. It's the front guy that has the pressure here. When you see that flag, he's the guy that's going to arrive there first, so he hopes there hasn't been a downpour, but the marshal just get things ready and the following pack.
Stevenson takes the lead then at the Melbourne Loop. That relegates Belford to second place. Carter Brown charging. Remember, Carter Brown was given 25 points here earlier on in the season, and so was Johnny Garnes when they went across the line. Absolutely equal on time. We're hearing the spots of rain are reaching as far as here now as well. Redgate Corner and Hollywood at the top of the Craner curves. It doesn't seem to be affecting Grip, Neil. They're only 1/10 of a second. In fact, they've just gone underneath, I think, the Casey O'Gorman lap record from last season on a 42.4. Side by side, if they do have spots of rain on the visor, it doesn't seem to be affecting them.
They're not backing off at all yet. Track temperature is up. It's almost 20 degrees, so spots of rain will dry as soon as they hit the track. Tyres are up to temperature. Not a problem at all. The riders will be getting what's called mental rain, a few spots in the visor, which really messes with you psychologically, especially if you're in front, so you just have to be careful. Keep your eye on the marshal's post just to see if there's any more rain flags out, but at the moment that seems to be okay. Reece Stevenson, he's certainly not backing off. You could argue maybe Evan Belford there has decided discretion's in order here and just holding back a little bit, letting someone else lead, but Reece Stevenson, he is the man. He is determined to win this one.
Yeah, Belford was third in the championship last year behind O'Gorman and Carter Brown, who's the rider right behind him now on the track. We were expecting him to be a title favourite, weren't we, really, this year?
Yeah.
Certainly one of them, but then got hurt at Silverstone in the opening round.
Yeah, that's too bad. What they do have to be careful here is, while the rain might not be having any effect on the black tarmac, it gets slippier earlier on the paint, on the white lines and the red and white tape on the exit and entry curve, so you just have to be careful there. But you notice the flags have gone in, so hopefully everything is back to normal.
Oh, just one spot of rain I saw there on the camera lens for the first time today, and that was at Goddard's, out of Goddard's, down the Tom Wheatcroft straight. We're into lap 7 then of 15, as you can see at the top of the screen. It's Belford leading this time. Reece Stevenson is second. The sun's still breaking through here with Carter Brown third. Then it's McCabe. Lucas Brown down to 5th now, Neil. Then it's Crosby. Mounty's just past the captain. James Cook is down to 8th. Desoy and Surowiec, the rider from Poland, are completing the top 10 at the moment. But these three have been locked together for pretty much the whole race so far. What sort of lap times is Harley McCabe doing? He's actually lapping a little bit quicker at the moment in 4th place. We're only halfway through. Here comes Carter Brown at the inside of Reece Stevenson. I think we've had every single one of these riders in 1st, 2nd or 3rd across the line at the end of laps across this race so far, and now we're hearing a little bit of rain starting to fall again.
Well, just on a couple of corners before, the sun was shining in one of the camera lenses and there was a fair amount of rain on that lens. It did look like Evan Belford backed off when he saw these flags just to let someone else lead at the front, but he's decided he's going back to the front now that the track's dry. But here comes Carter Brown, number 74. Slotted through into second. Alison Crosby, still okay with that racing machine there, no problems at all there. And you just saw on that camera as they headed through the foggy S's that there was a few spots of rain.
Oh, this must be tricky for the riders. Great shot of the plane going up there. There's Crosby. Lucas Brown right behind him. Look, it's Carter Brown looking behind him this time. That's Reece Stevenson. But Reece, he's looked so comfortable, hasn't he, ever since Silverstone in particular at the Grand Prix support meeting when he was fighting all the way with Garnes. He's had a really good run. He had a 3rd place at Thruxton, a 2nd then at Snetterton in race 1 last time out, and we're only on the 8th of the 15 laps here. And is McCabe still closing? Yes, he is. He's lapping comfortably quicker than the riders ahead of him. He's definitely catching the top 3. This is lap 8 of 15 of the penultimate race of the season for the Honda British Talent Cup of 2022. We're at Donington Park. There are drops of rain coming and going all the time. You can see them on some of the camera lenses now all around the lap here at Donington. It is still Evan Belford leading from Carter Brown and Reece Stevenson, but they're being caught by Harley McCabe, who's closing in fast. In the meantime, fascinating battle going on here, as you can see, all highlighted there. 7th through to 12th. James, the captain Cook, heading up the group. He came back into the championship last time out and scored a point at Snetterton. Of course, he's the younger brother of Max Cook, the newly crowned British Junior Superstock Champion of 2022. What a great scrap this is, Neil.
It certainly is. It's brilliant. And all of these kids have been at the front in early races this year. They did lack a little bit of dry track time yesterday, so maybe just struggling to get set up right. But believe you me, if conditions stay the same tomorrow, I'm sure they'll be closer to the front. But yeah, just a fantastic race to the front there. That was James Cook. slotting through there. Plenty of racing genes in that family's blood. They've been in paddock for a number of years now. And yeah, Max Cook. I love Max Cook because, as you mentioned, he was in the Junior World Championships in Red Bull Rookies, and he had to go back to basics and make it happen. And he's done a great job with some help from FS3 team. So great to see that the Cooks are a determined family and desperate to make their racing careers happen.
Yeah, plenty of talk around the paddock that Max Cook might even be testing the Superbike soon as well.
Oh, why not? He's ridden the 600 exceptionally well. He's by far the best rider in that championship this year. Done a great job to win it, deserved it, and he's bigger, more experienced and ready for Superbike in my opinion.
James Cook looking across there at Harrison Desoy. There's Sullivan Mounsey diving up the inside, number 4 there, the British-Jamaican rider based in London. He's a lightning quick starter, like Johnny Garnes, the champion. Very, very light, very, very small in comparison with those around him. In the meantime, this is 6 seconds further up the road, and there is your leader. It's Evan Belford, number 52, from Grendon in Warwickshire. And are they still being caught by Hardy McCabe? Let's have a look. Yeah, they are, but about a 10th a lap, so he's going to need to find some more pace.
And Evan Belford now broke the lap record.
Wow.
And I cannot tell you how impressed I'm in with that. Casey Garnes, standout rider last year, amazing talent off on his career, and for Evan Belford to break his lap record this early in the weekend, I think is so impressive, because Casey Garnes was a standout rider. Evan Belford just proved that he's faster here at Donington Park this weekend.
Well, we said, didn't we, that Belford was hurt at Silverstone in the opening round. He came back at Knock Hill on that bit of a chaotic weekend it was, and won the first race at Knock Hill. Stevenson there in second place, 5 times on the podium this season. Definitely the rider who's yet to win. Yes. Most deserving of a victory, I think everyone thinks that, don't they?
Very much so, yeah, and he's only a 10 slower as well, so he also was under Casey Garnes' lap record. So it's great to see things progressing. The guys getting faster every year.
And Carter Brown did the double, although he shared one of them, with Garnes here at Donington on the national circuit, but that was his last victory right back in May. So now it's the 1st of October today, and he's desperate to get back up onto the top step of the podium. There's McCabe. You can see the gap there, top left of the screen, between 3rd and 4th, and McCabe's lost a little bit of pace on that last lap. Lonely 5th then for Crosby, Lucas Brown in there, and here's that fight we saw before with James Cook heading up Desoy. Look at the 75, that's Surovic, the rider from Poland, who was 10th earlier in the race. He's making good progress actually, cutting through to the front of this group.
Yeah, loving that paint job. Definitely, a bit psychedelic, but loving that. Certainly standout paint job over the championship.
Yeah, it helps us, doesn't it, when we're commentating, particularly on a darker day. The sun is definitely shining though as we look out of the commentary box window. Sullivan Mounsey there at the top of the picture with the flashes of pink. Sorry, not Sullivan Mounsey, Stuart Campbell, Bailey Stuart Campbell in 11th place. Dan Goodman is 12th, and the NLAB team have been quite pleased with Dan's progress, I think. He's feeling a lot more confident in himself now and believing that he should be near the front of the race, and qualified much better for this one, did Dan Goodman. So he's making progress all the time. That was Stuart Campbell running wide there in the background, but up 11 places, as you can see, is Bailey Stuart Campbell, so that's a massive charge.
He's always in the mix. Not sure what happened in qualifying. Bailey Stuart Campbell on the Team 151 Lex Tech machine stands out there, the number 9, right pink there on fairing and helmet. Yeah, as big a talent as anyone in this championship.
Keanu Vire as well, fighting through. He's up to 20th place now, but he was the damp patch at Coppice earlier on in qualifying. Luckily he escaped injury. He's up to 20th, so it's not a bad climb as James Cook attacks Surovic again, and there's Mounsey going through on Desoy just behind them as well. Desoy's been quite unlucky actually this season, taken out in a couple of incidents that were not his fault. There he is on the Cresswell bike, number 55. Great scrap going on here, but they must be a bit frustrated, Neil, that they've got caught in this second group and are nowhere near the leaders. Surovic wide.
Yeah, they all know they can run at the front, but quite often that happens in the early laps as a bit of a gap appears, and then they start tripping over each other. And basically in this class, the rules are pass or be pass, so you've got to keep with that plan. But of course, gaps can appear, gaps can close as well. Might not happen this time, but these guys, certainly on the level, these guys at the front, but these have just got things sorted out on the opening laps. Carter Brown a few laps ago having a big look round. I'm not sure why, because he just needs to keep his head down and focused. We know he's strong in the brakes, we know he can put fast laps together. He desperately needs to keep in the slipstreams on the straight parts of this Donington Park international circuit that is still very much in contention. Double slipstream here as they head on to the back straight through Coppice down to Foggy Esses. Stevenson thinking about a move on the brakes, not quite close enough this time.
It's interesting, isn't it? He's riding a lot more with his head now, and he did say, didn't he, after spending a bit of time with the Moto3 World Championship riders at the Grand Prix earlier this season, just talking to them and going out and watching trackside as well. He improved his lines and his braking points, and you can just tell he's thinking things through a lot more now.
That's right, and there's different riding techniques in the smaller classes. You have to maximise use of the track, and sometimes you have to keep the bike on the side of the tyres to help with acceleration a little bit longer. You've definitely got to use your brains, use your intelligence, and have a good strategy and a bit of a plan. All of these three, it's kind of laps are ticking away here. They need a plan on the closing laps. Evan Belford certainly led the most laps, looking the most strong, looking the most confident, but Rhys Stevenson's found himself in this position so many times this year, just so close to winning, and he would like nothing more than to finish off his excellent season with a victory.
Yeah, 4 second places and 1 third for number 23, and as we said earlier on, it is the National Day of Lincolnshire today. They proudly fly the flag of Lincolnshire there on the mudguard and the helmet and the leathers, but that was definitely a mistake from Belford, coming out of the old hairpin, and look at that, nearly forced him out wide. That's a scary moment. Rhys Stevenson taken out of the race. Belford didn't mean to do it. It all started when Belford ran wide, coming out of the old hairpin, lost momentum. Stevenson went up alongside, and that's terrible news for his third place in the championship. He has got a new lap record. It does look like he'll be on pole position for race 2 later today, but surely Race Direction will be taking a look at that one.
Yeah, Evan Belford wide out of the old hairpin there, comes back, doesn't do anything wrong, keeps it flat out there. Rhys Stevenson ends up around the outside of him, gets pushed a little bit wide on the curb. He says a little bit of lean angle to the left there. The curb's a little bit ripply. That happened to Leon Haslam earlier in the year in pretty much same circumstances. Just lost a little bit of traction on the edge of the tyre and down he went. Fortunately, Rhys Stevenson's okay. You can see, yeah, I would say it was a racing incident there, but it did come down to Evan running a little bit wide at the previous corner.
Oh, scary stuff there. That would have really shocked everyone down in the team there for number 23. They're such a close-knit, family-run team at Rocket Racing. So the 16-year-old from Skegness might be on pole for later if the fastest lap stay as they are, which I think they will. But out of the race, and look what this would do. Yeah. Harrison Crosby then, Neil, would storm up into that third place in the championship. That is really, what a shame for Stevenson. He did not deserve that.
Yeah, that's significant. Oh, Carter Brown wide there. Meanwhile, and Carter Brown was actually really lucky in that incident. At one point, bike and rider were down on the track in front of him, but managed to avoid that. Probably cost him a little bit of time. He knows it's a 2-horse race now. He just has to get his head down, get close as he possibly can to Evan Belford on these closing laps.
Okay, so that means Harley McCabe is up into third place now, and it would be his third podium of the season. Lucas Brown second, his best result so far, and then, this is the reason we're looking at Crosby, number 15 here. He would, as we saw on that graphic a moment ago, score big points here in that fight against Stevenson. They're currently level on 161 points. So what is it, 25, 20, 16, 13, 11 for 5th place. So it'd be 11 points ahead of him moving into the last race, meaning Stevenson would need a very strong result tomorrow with Crosby hitting trouble. Look at this, everybody's moved up one place now. So Surowicz is 7th, then it's Mounty, Desoy, Goodman. Stuart Cameron on the pink bike at the top of the screen is in 11th place. So all locked together here. This is 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th and 11th.
Yeah. It's a reshuffle here, and clearly Stuart Campbell was very much in touch, getting dropped off the back. Carter Brown down the inside into Melbourne hairpin. Got to pass while he can. He's got to keep himself very much in touch, a bit wide coming out there. But Evan Belford, I'm sure he'll be confident. He's certainly at the pace. He's going to get down the inside now. Holds back this time, but he's certainly got the pace to at least go with Carter Brown, I feel. And he just has to deal with him now on to the penultimate lap.
Yes, and sorry, I said that group were all fighting for 7th place. Of course, they're fighting for 6th now because they've taken another one, haven't they, with Stevenson out. But this, like you say, Neil, is the penultimate lap. Are we going to see a second victory of the season then for Evan Belford? He's had to wait a long time. It was right back on the 18th of June at Knockhill. Or are we going to see a third victory for Carter Brown? Carter Brown second in the championship, really, whatever happens. Belford can move right up there, down in 10th. Only a few points behind Ryan Hitchcock, who's out of this race in 8th place. So he's going to try and get as close as he can to the championship top 6 after missing a handful of races earlier this season with the injury he sustained at Silverstone. This is too close to call. They have been locked together all race long.
Well, it is. I mean, Evan Belford does look like he's got the pace, but we've seen a few mistakes coming from him in early laps, and that's cost him time. So he really has to keep everything together, hit his spots, be dead accurate. Certainly got the speed on the straights, a bit smaller, a bit lighter than Carter Brown, but Carter Brown has got all the skills, he's got the race knowledge, he knows how to get the best out of that bike.
Race direction we'll be watching very carefully as well, because we know Carter Brown's run wide onto the green paint at least once, if not twice, in this race. They take particularly close notice of the final laps of races, of course. Is anyone going to cut a corner? Is anybody going to use the widest sweeping line and cut across the pit lane exit on the run to Redgate? That's definitely frowned upon as well. Trouble further back for the 70 of Ollie Horner, who's rejoining at Goddard, so the leaders won't be too far away from Ollie Horner. Here they are, look. I don't think they'll catch him unless he slows right down on the final lap of the race. Out of Goddard's then for the penultimate time. This is the final lap. Do you want to be ahead or be behind on the run to Goddard's on the last lap? I'm not really sure.
I'm really looking forward to this. We're going to have to get the very best lap ever for Evan Belford for him to win this. But Carter Brown, as I said, he will give it everything. He'll use every little bit of knowledge, experience he's got to get as close as he possibly can. Maybe think about pulling a move on the brakes into that Melbourne hairpin in the last lap. But between now, the left of Craner, and round to the loop, he has to just bolt himself onto the back of Evan, but Evan has to focus, he has to concentrate, he can't afford any mistakes at all.
Both 15 years of age, these two, Ollie Horner and another back marker, are not too far ahead of them on the road. Are any of those back markers going to get in the way? The marshals, of course, are brilliant here. Look, there's the two back markers. They'll be putting out the blue flags. That's McPhee, Scott McPhee there. Cousin of three-time Moto3 Grand Prix winner John McPhee, and this is going to be tight now.
Yeah, Carter Brown doing everything he can. He needed to get a nice run through Cox there just to stay with him. He's not going to pass him down here, but he just needs to get as close as he possibly can. Evan Belford, the one under pressure. Carter Brown, the man applying the pressure.
If anything happens between these two, I'll just quickly say this: Harley McCabe will win for the first time in the Talent Cup, but let's hope for these two that's not the case. There's the blue flag we mentioned. Scott McPhee on the right hand side.
Yep.
On the inside is Carter Brown. He's missed his braking point, forces Belford out wide, who now comes back underneath him on the exit of Melbourne. All clean enough, I think, Neil.
Yeah, cleaning up one more chance. I'm not sure Carter Brown got the drive, but he's going to have a go anyway. No, he's not.
There's a big bump here. There's a couple of big bumps through Goddard's. It's surely going to be Belford for the second time this season. It's going to be very, very close. We've had them level over the line earlier this season at Donington, but it is Evan Belford. What a great ride for the 15-year-old from Grendon in Warwickshire. His second win of 2022, second in the championship there, must be confirmed now for Carter Brown. On the podium once again this season is Harley McCabe, and well done to Lucas Brown and his dad Lee, who've been working so hard with Steve Patrickson and the whole amphibian scaffolding team up in fourth place. Crosby fifth, that's massive for the championship with Stevenson out of action. Suruwicz was sixth there, Cook seventh, Mounsey down to eighth on the last lap from Desoy, Goodman, Stuart Campbell, all locked together there down to 11th place. Then it'll be Hopkins, Huntingford, Willis and Davidson. What a great ride though, Neil, there for Evan Belford. He deserved that one.
Great riding from both these lads, but Evan Belford, he did everything he had to do. He concentrated, put a fast lap together, he defended, he attacked, he did everything he had to do, and yeah, great clean riding all the way to the flag. What a fantastic race.
Yeah, great stuff. Second win of the season, and very, very, very well deserved. So, pole position for tomorrow will be Reece Stevenson on that record 1:41.839. Remember, the fastest laps from race 1 decide the grid for race 2. There is poor Reece's bike. Very, very scary moment if you are just switching on, coming out of Schwantz Corner earlier on. He's in the medical centre, we can tell you now, with Heike Roma, who's the Chief Medical Officer here at BSB. Very, very, very well qualified, good doctors team there, down there, very friendly team as well, and they'll be making sure he receives the very best attention. He was on his feet, he was conscious, wasn't he, Neil? But probably shocked, if anything. I mean, it was a scary moment.
Shocked, disappointed, circumstances really. I don't think anyone was to blame, but yeah, what's he got to do to win the race? Well, he's got one more chance. He's on pole position. He knows he can match these guys' paces, so let's hope that he's fitting well for tomorrow.
Keanu Vaya, by the way, 5th in the championship, failed to get up into the points from a long way back on the grid, managed to get up to 20th at one point, then was demoted again to 21st. Julian Correa, the American, was looking to come through as well. I know they're quite concerned at the moment, the rider from Florida, with the Hurricane Ian, the effects that's had for quite a lot of family and friends back home in Florida, so best wishes to them. But Correa and Vaya both failing to score, so this is going to move quite a few riders, I think, Neil, around in the midfield in terms of the final championship positions for 2022. Drama right to the end again. Well, plenty of activity here at Donington Park. We've just seen the first of 2 races this weekend for the Honda British Talent Cup of 2022. And here is your winner. Number 52 is the 15-year-old from Grendon in Warwickshire with the city lifting by Ryan Saxelby Racing Honda, Evan Belford. All identical Moto3 bikes in this class for the riders aged anything between 13 and 17. Great victory right up there all race long, and his first win since Knock Hill earlier on in the season. So Belford, not a championship contender this year. He was affected by injury from the very first round, but that's his second win of 22. Carter Brown, runner-up in the championship, surely now confirmed, with Harley McCabe on the podium for the 3rd time this season. His third place as well. Lucas Brown's best result in 4th, and it was Crosby. Philip Suruach had a great charge through, the rider from Poland. James Cook back in action. Just his second round of the season. Good strong 7th from Mounsey, Desoy, Goodman, Stuart Campbell. They were all locked together. Then a bit of a gap there back to 12th place. And Luca Hopkins. Huntingford, Willis and Davidson, Alfie Davidson and one of the other Pete Banks machines completing the point scorers. Costly afternoon though for the likes of Julian Correa, Ollie Walker, Troy Jeffrey, Keanu Vai. These are all big names in the championship this year, all failing to score because of the troubles they had in qualifying and couldn't get through into the points. Johnny Garnes not racing, so we didn't unfortunately get to see him in a race with the number 1 plate, but he is the champion. He won that in race 1 at Snetterton 3 weeks ago. Carter Brown, as you can see, second in the standings. Crosby then moves ahead of Stevenson. That could still change. Just 11 points between them moving into race 2 here on Sunday. And look at that. Lucas Brown now, he's up into the top 5. Keanu Vai falling right back there to 7th place. He was 5th coming into the race, but just a handful of points between all of them there. One more race to go here then on Sunday on the full Grand Prix circuit at Donington Park. But your winner, Evan Belford, is with the multiple BSB champion, Shaky Byrne.
He certainly is, yeah. Evan Belford, your second win of the season. You held your nerve there right at the end. Carter was all over you, you two together away at the front. You must be over the moon with that.
Yeah, I'm really chuffed with that result. That's what I wanted to happen in the race. It's a bit unfortunate for Reese. I felt him trog around the outside of me. He clipped my toe and I think he crashed. But yeah, really good last lap battle with Carter. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I came out on top, which is the best thing that can happen in racing, really.
Moving forward, plans for next year? You got any thoughts yet on what you're going to do moving up, or are you going to stay in BTC next year?
We don't actually know yet. We're just discussing it with my dad and that about funding and stuff. But yeah, hopefully we can move forward in the future.
We wish you all the best. Well done.
Thank you.
Thanks, Evan. Thanks, Shaky. 6-time BSB champion Shaky Byrne there, and the podium now awaits them. This is a podium when we'll see the championship trophy given out tomorrow as well. The Dave Simmons trophy will be handed out in memory of the 125cc champion of 1969, the first ever Kawasaki victory in a world championship, and it'll be Robin Appleyard having announced their retirement as a team, and that will be an emotional goodbye, won't it, if ever there was one, at Brands Hatch in 2 weeks' time. So watch out for that. Jenny Simmons will be there as well, Dave Simmons' daughter, and that'll all be happening here for Johnny Garnes tomorrow. As we saw there, Belford, he'll be racing in Aragon next weekend. Johnny Garnes will not. Look at that. That was a hard move from Carter Brown. He didn't mean to do that. He actually missed his braking point down at Melbourne. Pushes the leader, who was the leader, a little bit wide. Straight back underneath him comes Evan Belford. And Scott McPhee, in the meantime, did a good job just to avoid getting caught up there in anything that could have kicked off. Of course, I did say just before that if anything really dramatic did happen, then we could have seen Harley McCabe coming through for these guys to win. That's Jordan Pritchard there, good mate of Chaz Davis, and one of the bosses here at the Vision Track Academy, Nuria Baldellini, in there as well, who is the wife of Alex Baldellini, who of course is one of the rider coaches here in the Honda British Talent Cup. Alex Baldellini working very hard alongside Matt Belchin. Alex, a former podium man and nearly a winner in the Supersport World Championship several times over the years, as your top 3 come up on to the podium. And what a shame that we didn't see this man racing. You can't believe it. It seems too young to call him a champion. He's number 1 now officially with the number 1 plate on board. Johnny Garnes having dominated the series. He's only just recently turned 14. Do you know Alex Baldellini? We certainly do. We were just talking about him, but great stuff for Johnny Garnes. 12 wins from the 16 races he's competed in so far this season. A couple of incidents along the way, one of which was not his fault anyway. Utterly dominating the championship this year with 12 wins, 1 second, 1 third, and he was 144 points ahead coming into the weekend. Of course, the records will show now that it'll be a little bit less, with Carter Brown having a good weekend here, so that's now just been reduced to 124, but even so, what a dominant performance. Just as we saw from Casey O'Gorman last season. There's Belford. Shaky tried his best there to try and find out what he's doing next year. We don't yet know, of course. He might stay here in the Honda British Talent Cup. We do have rules such as the National Junior Superstock Championship here at PSB, in which the top 3 are obliged to move up at the end of the season. That doesn't apply here in the Talent Cup. One thing that has been a bit of a problem for some of the Talent Cup riders in the various Talent Cups on the road to MotoGP are the increasing age limits we've seen. So a few riders are a bit stuck at the moment as to what they're going to do next season. But a very happy podium there with Hardy McCabe there for the 3rd time this year. Strong second for Carter Brown and a second win of the season for Evan Belford. Well done. Penultimate race of the season here for the Honda British Talent Cup. It's race 1, the Saturday race on the Grand Prix circuit at Donington Park on a warmish and cloudy, overcast 1st of October afternoon. The biggest drama was in qualifying. Johnny Garnes ruled out with concussion. He's here and he's watching, but unable to race this weekend. Ryan Hitchcock, though, down at the first corner. So was Harrison McKay, and quite a few incidents across the race are really going to shake up things in the lower reaches of the top 10 for the final championship positions at the end of the 18 race series at the end of the weekend. But look at this. Belford ran wide coming out of the old hairpin. Reece Stevenson had the momentum, forced out onto the curbs. Nobody meant to do that. Very scary incident, though. Despite that, it's a new lap record for Stevenson, and he will be on pole for Sunday's race. But bad news for his fight for 3rd in the championship with Harrison Crosby. Over the line, though, Belford wins for the 2nd time in 2022. Very well deserved too.